Came to the bed, I've got voices in my head.
Hey bloody buddies, welcome back. How are you guys? We're so excited to be coming at you guys again with another true crime story time. That's officially the name.
Listen.
True crime story time.
This is one of my favorite ones too, so I'm really excited for this one.
Prior to her telling me about this, I did not know about this one, and that's so weird because this one is like,
It's good.
it's out there. It's wild.
So what are we talking about today? Well, we are talking about the Farmville Murders.
So this one is back in September of 2009, and it happened in rural Farmville, Virginia. There was a not single, not double, not triple, a quadruple homicide that shook the small town to its core. Now, the victims were Mark Niederbrock, Deborah Kelly, their daughter, 16-year-old Emma Niederbrock, also known by her friends online as Ragdoll. That was like her screen name, and her friend Melanie Wells.
Now we have to remember this was the time frame of MySpace, VampireFreaks.com, things of that nature. So of course everybody had like some sort of nickname. So that was hers, and that's what she was known by.
I just have to ask, do you remember what yours was? Because I remember mine.
Not a clue, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I had one. I think my name is so unique that I didn't need one. Like, I have a weird enough name, it's fine.
Mine was most definitely Courtney Contagious. That goes to tell you the time frame. I digress.
So from now on, we're gonna call her Courtney Contagious, okay? Because she's contagious. That sounds awful, actually, now that you think about it. Like,
listen, it was 2009. It was a weird time. It was a weird time. We had Ragdoll, we had Courtney Contagious, we had English with an I.
just a little bit of everything.
Now, just to give a little bit of background on Emma, her mother was a professor at the local university in Farmville, Virginia, and her father was a pastor.
So you've got this wholesome family, very well educated. I mean, I would picture just your typical middle to upper class family.
Yeah. Now, she was an only child, which I don't know. I have a little heart for only kids because they, the struggle is so real for them.
I was the only child for 13
Yes.
years, and I mean, I think you just learn to be your own best friend.
Yes. Yeah. She was an only child, and her parents were separated when she was 14, so that was like her really big like developmental years, and then you deal with your parents splitting. Like, that's,
You've got hormones and then a parental divorce, and that just it can be a toxic combination.
Now, obviously, this caused her to go through an emotional phase, making her feel as though she was an outcast and socially withdrawn. So she didn't have any siblings. She felt like she didn't have friends. Her parents were splitting. Like, it was an emotional time for her.
I think it was just slowly turning her into what a lot of us at that time era were very just like, or at least we were, like emo, goth, kids at Hot Topic kind of thing.
Right.
Like, that's what I pictured. She went through the same phase we did, but a little bit more hardcore.
Yes. Now, to make matters worse, her parents decided to pull her out of the local school. I guess just they assumed that she was really going through an emotional time. Let's homeschool her. And me personally, I almost feel like that's worse.
I would think so too.
Because now she's not around any peers.
But I think they felt kind of like, oh, she's not making friends. She seems miserable. I feel like as parents, they were just trying every option available to change the situation.
Yeah, so they decided to homeschool her instead. Instead of this helping, she became quite rebellious and changed her style to more of a goth style. So it was very much black clothes, black winged out eyeliner, like...
Hey, her eyeliner looked good though.
Her eyeliner was always on fleek. If you look her up, it was always on fleek.
She did a good job. I can't do it.
Right.
Props to her.
So around this time, she started listening to horrorcore music as a means of escape and connected with the themes emotionally.
Yes.
So now, if you guys know what horrorcore is, if you don't, we'll explain it to you. It's like hardcore rap music, but the basis or the theme of it is horror.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like a horror movie, but in music.
Yes, it really is. Like, that is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, this is when she took on the ragdoll online persona and quickly became a devoted fan of Razikal and Satanic. Now, they were two horrorcore rappers, and she became like...
Listen, I'm a personal fan of Razikal, so hey!
Listen, she is so beautiful.
She's
Are you
a
kidding
badass.
me?
And her music's amazing. Check her out.
Yes. Now, Razikal and Satanic ran the SKR music label out of New Mexico. And Razikal decided to introduce her to another fan as a means of helping her find a friend. This is how she met Melanie. Melanie lived not too far from her. She lived in West Virginia. So she kind of like brought them together to be like little best buddies, thinking maybe this will help her kind of come out of her shell a little bit.
Yeah, like they were close at age and they had a lot in common, so it was kind of just a really good scenario.
Yes.
Her heart was in the right place doing this for sure.
Yes. Now, Melanie was 18 at the time, so there was a little bit of an age difference, but not anything major. But she was also a huge follower of the horrorcore music scene. And Melanie and Emma became very close friends online, of course, because they couldn't meet in person. They were not in the same state even. But they chatted and webcammed each other every single day.
So they were like long distance besties right now.
Yeah, they were like us, only they couldn't see each other.
Exactly.
Now, they finally met at a horrorcore concert in Chicago, and then from then on they were like inseparable. Even though it was still online only, they could only talk to each other, you know, via webcam and whatnot, but they were completely inseparable at that point. Now, Raz decided one day to share one of Emma's videos to her fan group. So basically, Emma would record these videos and send them to Raz, and like explain to her how like her music had touched her and changed her and was like so important to her.
And kind of showing her like all her fan stuff, you know, like posters, things like that, and just kind of sharing her life as well, you know, explaining who her parents were and how, you know, yeah, that, you know, one's a pastor, but he's pretty cool, it's okay, kind of thing. So it was a really cute, wholesome video.
Yes. Now, I just want to preface this by saying that to me is kind of a little not mind-boggling, but like, she's a fan of horrorcore rap and her dad's a pastor. Like,
love it.
Total opposites, but yes. But now, so Raz decides to share one of her videos to her fan group, and this caught the attention of another fan, who was 20-year-old Richard Sam McCroskey.
Also known as Psycho Sam.
Yes.
Why was he known as Psycho Sam? Because of course he was a aspiring horrorcore rapper.
And because he was a psycho.
That too. We'll get to that.
Now, Psycho Sam, as his online persona was quite addicted to the online lifestyle, almost to a fault. And the two rather quickly started an online romance, which I just want to say we have all done that at 14 in the 2000s. Like, are you kidding me? We all had an online boyfriend. So,
of course, within a couple of weeks, they're already calling each other baby, and they're already dropping the L-bomb, saying, I love you. But I think that has a lot to do with also her being young, because all teenage girls fall in love quickly. But it also has to do with him being a homebody. Like, his whole life was the internet. So, of course, when he finds a beautiful young girl online and she's feeding him attention, he's going to want to keep it going by, oh, I love you. Oh, you're my everything. Because he doesn't have a life in real life.
Well, and I think it's almost sometimes easier to say those things online versus seeing somebody like face to face in person. I feel like that.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's easier to fall in love
when it's not in person.
Yeah, when you're not in person. Now, Raz and Satanic announced that they are going to do a show in Detroit, Michigan. So of course the girls are like,
we gotta go.
Oh my god, I want to go there.
Yeah, like this is their favorite. They gotta go see them.
Yes.
And Melanie actually gets the okay from her parents to go. And, excuse me, Emma must get the okay from her parents to not only go to the show, but also bring her online boyfriend, who she still hasn't met in person. Like, I don't know about y'all's parents, but if I was like, hey mom, I want to go to a concert in Michigan, and oh, by the way, I want to bring my boyfriend whom I've never met.
Who, by the way, I just want to say lives in California.
Yeah, this,
Like, just...
not faulting her parents, but man, my parents would have...
My parents would have never.
Yeah. And Emma's parents, although they didn't agree with her choice of music, they knew there were very few things that made her happy. So this was kind of their situation where it's like, we don't really like the music, but at this point we're, you know...
We're willing to do anything to, like, bring this kid out of her shell a little bit.
Yeah, they were kind of just like, please, like, it, almost like shaking her to be happy, and this was her one chance to be happy. So of course they end up letting her go under the condition that they accompany her on the trip. So Melanie came in from West Virginia, and after arriving, they all went to the airport to pick up Sam, who flew in from California. So they get to the airport, and after meeting him in person, she immediately is like confiding to Raz that he is not at all what she expected, that something seems off.
Big surprise.
He was weird, and it turned her off. Then they all road trip together in Detroit for the show, with the plans of Sam staying another week at her home after the concert. So after the 9-hour drive to Detroit, they arrive at the hotel. When the girls sleep in one room, the parents in another, and Sam in a third. Now, this hotel is where both the artists and fans were staying in anticipation for the upcoming show. So this was so that the artists could mingle with the fans and even do things like meet and greet. So they'd all kind of like pre-party.
Which I thought was so cool, because there's not a whole lot of artists that do that. And I just want to say, this was not just like just Raz doing the show. This was not just like one or two artists. This was like a big, almost like a festival kind of, in a sense. There was a bunch of artists that were coming, and they were all staying at this hotel. A lot of the fans were staying at this hotel, so it was like a big to-do, which I thought was so cool.
Oh yeah.
So now, once they get settled in, they go and do these little meet and greets and that kind of stuff, and Emma was very much a social butterfly, whereas Sam was kind of like awkward and like hiding in the background, wasn't saying too much.
Very much opposite.
Yes. And she realized she was not interested the way that she had been now that she finally met him in person. Which, I mean, we've all kind of been in that situation where somebody seems so different online than what they do in person.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine being like, I love you, I love you, I love you, and then meeting him and being like,
oh,
I don't even like you.
And now she's stuck with him. Like,
yes.
She can't run away. Like, what can you do?
Yes. So now, the day of the show, the girls were front row. They were loving every second of it, partying, enjoying it. But Sam lurked in the background. And so there's actual footage from this concert. And you can see.
You have to look very carefully to see Sam. You'll see him, like, the cameraman is in the crowd. And right in front of him, you can see the two girls. On the right-hand side, at some point, you see Sam way off in the side. You see him up in the balcony, but they're never together. And we're actually going to just insert the clip so you guys can see it real quick.
So we'll pop this in right now for y'all.
So, as you could probably see, super awkward, but you could tell they were having such a good time, even though you're seeing from behind, like, they are just dancing, having a good old time.
Yes. Now, people at the show, like we said, recalled never seeing them together that evening. He didn't fit in, even with the Outcast group, which, honestly, that's got to be so sad, and kind of, I almost feel bad for him. Like, you don't fit in even with the Outcast.
That's pretty bad.
But then again, at the same time, that should have cued somebody off, like, something is not right with this guy. So after the show, they make the 9-hour trip all the way back home, and they arrive back in Farmville on September 13th around 11:30 p.m. So it was late, everybody was tired, they had been on the road for 9 hours. Now, Sam would be staying another week with the family.
Even though the vibe was
Yeah,
off. So
even
it's
though
like,
it was like, she felt like she couldn't do anything like put him out because she had already said, you're staying.
She just felt kind of stuck. And it sucks because it's like...
Well, but I just want to preface this. Anybody that may be like younger than us or maybe around our age that is still in the dating scene or whatever, if something feels off, trust your freaking gut instinct. She did not have to keep him there, but I understand why she did.
Yeah.
But something feels off, they got to go.
That's right.
But so Melanie messages her mom when they make it back, just to let her know that they had made it back safe, but she was very tired and she would message her the next day. And this was totally normal. This was something that she would do if she wasn't with her mom every evening. Melanie would just message her or call her. Now, the next morning, Melanie's brother calls her a few times but gets no answer. But her mom wasn't concerned. She's like, maybe they're out doing something.
Maybe they went and got breakfast. I mean,
yeah, maybe they're busy. Maybe because it's a very small town, maybe they went somewhere and there's no phone service. So she didn't get too concerned. They tried a few more times to call throughout the day, but still got no answer. And it was around this time that they got concerned and contacted Raz to see if she had heard from her or Emma. So, which, that right there would have cued me off, like, nope, I'm driving down there and I'm going to go find my child. But at the same time, we also have to remember that Melanie was 18.
That's right. So I think that's when her mom kind of got concerned that maybe Emma, Melanie, and Sam had possibly run away together. I mean, she is 18. Very, very possible.
Yes.
She asked Raz to call around and see if any of the other friends had seen or heard from them. Raz made calls, left voicemails, but got no answer whenever she tried to call the girls. She knew something was definitely off when they never responded because they always stayed in contact with each other, or at least always responded in a fairly quickly manner.
Yeah.
It had been over 24 hours of no response. So at this point, Raz posts on MySpace that if anyone has heard anything, to contact her. They received a message telling them to contact someone known as Big Dog with 2 G's. One of Sam's best friends. So she calls him, tells him to get in touch with Sam as soon as possible, and like, hey, let's find out what's going on. You're his best friend. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, where is he at? Where are the girls at? Now, at this same time, Melanie's mom tries to contact the local police, but because Melanie is an adult, they can't help her. They're like, she's over 18.
Yeah.
What do you want us to do? She might have run away. So she contacts the Farmville police to find out if there was possibly car accidents, but there was no accidents that were reported. So Melanie's mom then sends her father to Farmville to Emma's house in hopes of finding out what was going on. He arrives in the afternoon, knocks on the door, gets no answer. So as he's looking around the house, he gets approached by a man claiming to be the neighbor. He says the girls are gone, but should be back home shortly. He feels reassured that everything's fine.
Yeah.
And decides to head back home to West Virginia. Little did he know, though, the man that was claiming to be the neighbor was none other than Sam.
So the girls are missing. Sam saying, oh, they just went out, blah, blah, blah. Very, very fishy.
Yes. So Melanie's mom and brother are still not happy with that answer, and they call Emma's house phone. Sam answers the phone and says that the girls went out to dinner with her parents but broke down and they're waiting on AAA. So that also just sounds so fishy to me. Like,
so many red flags.
He got down there in the afternoon, they weren't there. She calls that evening, they're not there.
So many red flags.
So they keep calling all night, but then get no answer. So he was just like, not answering anymore. They call again the next morning and Sam answers. Which, see, this just blows my mind. Like, he answers and then he gets scared and he's like, nope, not answering. And then he answers the phone again.
Certainly not a professional.
Yes. Now, this time he claims that the car got fixed, but now they were on their way to visit Emma's dad. So it's like, why are they never
Why are they constantly on the go?
Yes.
And that's where I think it really got fishy. And Melanie's mom calls Emma's dad, who says he hasn't seen or heard from any of them since he dropped them off at the concert. He heads to the house and says he will contact her back as soon as he hears something. While waiting for Emma's dad to call her back, she receives a call from Sam. He says he hasn't seen Emma's dad, but claims to hear voices and someone moving around in the house in the basement.
Like, what?
All these
so
different,
many red flags.
Yeah, and crazy stories. Like, okay, now there's somebody in the basement and you're calling to tell her that? Like,
why wouldn't you call the police if that was the case?
Okay,
So
well,
weird.
of course she tells him to call the police, which he does.
Like,
So,
okay.
the cops arrive, and Sam even lets them in the house and down to the basement to look around. But after finding nothing, the cops leave. So,
which,
crazy.
yes,
Like,
that just blows my mind.
like, this is not a movie. This is real life.
Yes.
This really happened, and it makes no
Yes.
sense.
So Raz and Sick continue to try to get in touch with Sam's friend, Big Dog, and finally get him to contact them back. He says he talked to Sam, who says he killed everyone. Like, what?
So, I mean, he just, like, up and admits it. Like,
Yeah,
I killed everyone. So, Melanie's mom calls Raz right after she found this out, and Sick had to break the news to her. He then contacts the Farmville police, who immediately go to the home. They find all 4 victims in the house, but there's no sign of Sam.
So weird.
Yeah, so apparently he had already made his way to the airport, but his flight wasn't scheduled to leave until the next day, and he didn't have the money to change the flight to a sooner time. I mean,
Like, how dumb.
everything he did was so dumb.
Yes.
And then, of course, a security guard at the airport spotted Sam and held him there until police arrived. And there is actual footage. We'll go ahead and put that in here now of him actually, and it's actual footage of him getting arrested at the airport.
So I'll show that to you guys now. After being arrested for the murders, he's facing the death penalty. Like,
As he should.
absolutely. He makes a plea bargain with the prosecutors, confessing to all four murders. Y'all try to say that 5 times fast.
All 4 murders. All 4. Okay, no.
Yep, see? He tells them the night they arrived back in Farmville, he felt rejected by Emma, which, I mean, I can see that because she was not feeling the vibe, so.
But that doesn't mean you go slaughter everybody.
So he felt rejected by her. He took a cocktail of alcohol, weed, and prescription pills. He said that he then took an axe from a wood pile and went back into the house.
An axe, like.
We're not talking about Lizzie Borden. This is...
Okay.
I mean, Lizzie Borden was real, but you know what I mean?
But this is like some kid, basically.
Yes.
Some punk kid.
Yes, so he says he took the axe, went back into the house, and Melanie was sleeping on the living room couch. He killed her first. He then proceeded to kill Emma and her mother in their sleep. And then 3 days later, when Emma's father came to check on the girls, he killed him as well.
So he's just killing everybody.
And then he was sentenced to life without parole.
Now, I will say there's a lot of rumors around this, and it's actually pretty interesting because if you go back and watch the entire footage of the concert, like I literally sat there and watched and it's a long concert.
Yeah.
You have to really have the patience. But if you watch it, you do see a guy come up to Emma and kind of like whisper it. And you can't tell if he tries to kiss her, but you can see she's very enamored, like she's smiling.
Yeah, she was feeling him.
Yeah, apparently there's a rumor that Sam saw this as well as saw text messages in her phone of her talking to another guy, and that's what really sparked it, the rejection and then her talking to another guy. Again, there's not really any concrete evidence. We got to think this is back in 2009. We don't have receipts like we used to, or like we do now, where you can find all the details. But that is a very popular, I guess you'd say, rumor.
Yeah, we definitely can't confirm that one, but we're not going to deny it either.
No.
Does my tongue work today?
Kind of, but not all the way. So, crazy story, very interesting. You can go check out his music if you want to get an idea of what kind of guy we're dealing with. Again, it's Psycho Sam.
Yes, it's on YouTube. Like, you guys can hear him.
I mean, it's not like he's getting money for it, so
right. I mean, you guys
you don't have to pay for it. So, if you just want to see like his wonderful rap career, check it out.
It's not wonderful, you guys. It's bad. It's so bad.
But I hope y'all enjoyed that story as much as we did. It's one of our favorites.
Listen, if you guys have any crazy MySpace days stories, drop them below. We want to read those.
We need some MySpace crime in our life.
Listen, if you guys stayed this long, you made it through the whole video, drop a little Bloody Buddies comment down below. We love to read them.
Yes.
If you guys haven't hit it yet, hit that subscribe button.
Yes, subscribe.
Because we are coming back with so much more stuff. We have so much in store for you guys. We have maybe a little scene setting change coming. Question mark.
A new studio, perhaps?
Who knows? So you guys stay tuned. Bye.